Namaste. In this video, we are going to learn the Vyanjan of the Hindi language. Vyanjan means consonants. These start from the letter K all the way up to the letter Nya. So let's learn how to write each of these letters and learn one word starting from each of these letters. So let's start with the first one. The first letter is the letter K. Make a straight standing line, a curve like this, make it into a full circle, and from that same point, a half curve like this, and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter K. K say Kachua. Kachua means tortoise. The next letter is the letter K. For this, we are going to make a C curve and make a loop, curve it like this, and make a standing line touching that curve. From here, we are going to make a small half circle and a sleeping line on the top is the letter K. K say Khargosh. Khargosh means rabbit. The next letter is the letter G. Drop down a line and curve it and make it into a loop like this. Another standing line next to it is the letter G with a sleeping line on top. G say Gamla. Gamla means pot. G. The next letter is the letter G. There's a difference between these two letters. It is G and G. In this, we are going to write a reverse 3 like this, and a standing line and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter G. G say Ghar. Ghar means house. The next letter is Ng. Very similar to what we have done before in the swar. Make a small standing line and an S like this, and a line on the top, a dot here next to this curve is the letter Ng. Ng say koi shabd nahi, which means there is no word which starts from the letter Ng. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter Ch. Make a small sleeping line in between the two blue lines and a curve like this, a standing line and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter Ch. Ch say Chammach. Chammach means spoon. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter Ch. Difference between the previous letter is that the previous letter was Ch. This letter is a little more stressed. It is the letter Ch. Make a reverse 3 like this. Take it up and curve it into a loop like this. A small standing line on the top and a sleeping line. This is the letter Ch. Ch say Chhatri. Chhatri means umbrella. The next letter is the letter J. J. Make a curve like this, a small sleeping line, a standing line, and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter J. J. Say jal. Jal means water. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter Jh. It's a more pronounced letter than the previous one. The previous one was J. This is Jh. Make a small standing line, a S curve, and a loop like this. From here, make a small sleeping line, a standing line here, and a sleeping line on the top. Makes it the letter Jh. Jh. Say Jhanda. Jhanda means flag. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter Ny. Make a reverse C curve like this, a small sleeping line, a standing line, and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter Ny. Ny. Say koi shabd nahi, which means there is no word which starts with the letter Ny. The next letter after this is the letter T. A small standing line and a half circle, like a C curve, and a sleeping line on the top is the letter T. T. Say tomato. Tomato means tomatoes. T is this letter. The next letter is a little more pronounced. It is Th. A small standing line, and just how we wrote T, but instead of stopping it here, we are going to make it the full circle and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter Th. Th. Say Thanda. Thanda means cold. The next letter is the letter D. A small standing line and write an S and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter D. If you remember, we had put one dot over here for the letter ng. Now this one is without the dot. It is the letter D. D. Say damru. It is a musical instrument. Damru. The next letter is the letter Dh. Little more pronounced it is Dh. Okay. For this we are going to make a small standing line, and how we wrote the letter T, we are going to write like this T. And the only difference between T and Dh is we are going to make a small circle like this. That's the letter Dh with a sleeping line on the top. Dh. Say dhapli. Dhapli is also another kind of musical instrument. This is the letter Dh. The next letter is the letter ణ. ణ. Make a curve like this. Leave a little gap and make a standing line and a sleeping line on the top. Is the letter ణ. There is no word which starts with this letter ణ, but there are many words which end with this letter ణ, like Ravan. ణ. It ends with the letter ణ. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter T. Make a straight standing line. From between, make a sleeping line like this and a line going down like this and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter T. T. Say tabla. Tabla is another kind of musical instrument. Letter T. The next letter is the letter Th, more pronounced. The previous one was T. This is Th. Okay, so we are going to make a small circle on top like this. And from here we are going to curve it like this and make a sharp pointy end here and take it like this, another curve, a standing line here and a sleeping line on the top. This is the letter th. Th. Say thermometer. Th. The next letter is the letter D. A small standing line. Then we are going to write again the letter T. The only difference between the letter T and D is we are going to turn it like this. Remember, we had made it this much. This was the letter D. Now the same letter we are going to extend it a little down. This is the letter D with a sleeping line on the top. D. D. Say darwaza. Darwaza means door. The next letter is the letter dh. More pronounced dh. Make a small circle on the top, a reverse 3 and a standing line and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter dh. Dh. Say dhanush, which means a bow. Dh. The next letter is the letter N. Make a straight standing line. From the middle of the standing line, a sleeping line like this, and make it a small loop like this. A sleeping line on the top makes it the letter N. N. Say null. Null means tap. The next letter is the letter P. A curve like this. If you remember, in the letter N, we had left a little gap and given a standing line. Here, joining the curve itself, we are going to give a standing line like this. Is the letter P. P. Say patang. Patang means kite. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter P. Please note, it is not F, it is P. P. Okay, the same way how we wrote P, we are going to write a curve like this. Okay, a standing line touching the curve, and from this point we are going to make one more curve like this and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter P. It is not F, like somehow it is wrongly pronounced. It is P. P. Say phal. Phal means fruits. The next letter is the letter B. Make a straight standing line and a curve circle like this and a slanting line inside the circle and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter B. B. Say batak. Batak means duck. The next letter in the Vyanjan is the letter B. It's more pronounced than the previous letter B. This is the letter B. Make a small circle on the top. Continue and bring it down. Make a loop like this. A sleeping line. Then a standing line like this. And a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter B. B. Say bhalu. Bhalu means bear. The next letter is the letter M. The same way how we wrote B, but without the circle on the top. So we get a straight standing line, but we do not touch the bottom line. From here itself, we are going to loop it, make a sleeping line, a standing line, and a sleeping line on the top. If you see the difference between this and the previous one was, B had a circle over here. This one does not have a circle. And this is the letter M. M. Say machli. Machli means fish. Next is the letter Y. From here we are going to make a curve like this. Take it like this. A standing line and a sleeping line makes it the letter Y. Y. Say yagna. Next letter is the letter R. Again a curve like this. We're going to loop it here like this, and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter R. R. Say rassi. Rassi means rope. Next is the letter L. From here we're going to curve it like this, make a standing line here and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter L. L. Say laddu, which is a sweet dish. Next is the letter V. Make a standing line here and a circle on this side and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter V. If you remember, we had written a similar letter where we had a slanting line here, which was the letter B. So this is the same letter without the slanting line, and this letter is the letter V. V. Say varsha. Varsha means rain. The next letter is the letter Sh. We are going to make a small circle here, curve it, loop it, bring it down, and a standing line next to it and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter Sh. Sh. Say shatranj. Shatranj means chess. The next letter is the letter Sh. Sh. Make a curve like this, and joining it itself we are going to make a straight standing line, a sleeping line on the top. If you remember, this is the letter P, and over here the only difference is we are going to make a slanting line over here. This is the letter Sh. Sh. Say shatcone. Shatcone means a hexagon. A shape with 6 sides is called as a shatcone. The next letter is the letter S. We are going to make a R. How we had written R, you remember, like this. From here we are going to take a small sleeping line, a standing line, and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter S. S. Say sabzi. Sabzi means vegetables. This is the letter S. Moving on to the next letter, we have the letter H. A small standing line on the top. Then we are going to curve it like this, an S, and from here we are going to curve it like this. This is the letter H. H. Say hathoda. Hathoda means hammer. H. The next letter is the letter Ksha. We are going to make a standing line. Look very carefully at this letter, a standing line. From here we are going to curve it like this, like this, like this, and like this. and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter Ksha. Ksha. Say Kshatriya, which means a warrior. Ksha. The next letter is the letter Tra. Tra. A standing line here and two slanting lines like this. A sleeping line on the top like a reverse K. If you remember, we had done it in the letter in one of the swar, which was the letter Ri with a curve like this. And this is the letter Tra. Tra. Say Trishul, which is a weapon. A three-pronged weapon is called as a Trishul. This is the letter Tra. And the last letter is the letter Gnya. Gnya. We are going to make a small, from here we are going to take a sleeping line like this, curve it like this, like how we had written J, and here we are going to make a loop like this, and a sleeping line on the top makes it the letter Gnya. Gnya. Say Jnani. Jnani is a very wise and intelligent person, is called as a Jnani. These were the Vyanjan of the Hindi alphabet. Let us go through them once again. This is K, K, G, Gh, Ng, Ch, Ch, J, Jh, Nya, T, Th, D, Dh, ण, T, Th, D, Dh, N, P, Ph, B, Bh, M, Y, R, L, V, Sh, Sh, S, H, Ksha, Tra, Gnya. I hope you found this video helpful. Bye-bye.